Hi, I'm Townsend of So Hot Right Now, and I did the cover nails for NAILPRO.
And this is Stephanie Lavery for Behind the Nail Pros. I love the design that you did for this cover. It was so fabulous. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with this concept.
Well, I wanted to do something quite extravagant being a cover, and I wanted to do something 3D, but I wasn't 100% sure where to go with it. And then I was actually watching a Katy Perry video with my 2-year-old son, and she had this amazing, it was all set in Egypt, she had this amazing like beaded headdress on, and I just thought, that's it, that would just look amazing on nails. So it just went from there, really.
When you went looking for embellishments, what were you looking for in terms of beads?
I was just looking for size, really. I kind of had a colour scheme. I know that I wanted to do like gold, silver, metallic-y, and just like turquoise, blue and red. But I just grabbed like loads of like tiny little beads and strung beads that I could, you know, like snip and just like take them off.
So our model needed a little bit of extension with her nails. So tell me how you began.
I knew that the 3D part was going to take some time, so I wanted to do the quickest extension possible. So I used a clear tip that I just glued onto a Preps nail, and then I also wanted to keep the extensions really thin to allow for the amount of 3D that was going to go on top. So I just put 2 thin layers of clear gel over the top and then just buffed them down to give me a good, nice, thin palette to work on.
A longer almond nail is really popular right now, and I think a lot of clients are coming in asking for this temporary length. So instead of sculpting, adding a tip is a great way for a nail tech to do this in the salon. What tips do you have for working with clear tip extensions?
I think clear tip extensions are really good for people that have very, very short bitten nails. Obviously, you can't really get a form underneath those kind of nails, so these ones are perfect. The most important thing to remember when you're doing a gel extension is to flash cure between each application, because you have to keep the gel slightly thicker than when you're just doing colour, and the gel heats up and it can really burn the nail plate. It can be really uncomfortable. So literally just 2 seconds between each application just to set the gel, and then do a full cure at the end once you've built the whole nail.
But this isn't a hard gel.
No, this is it's actually a soakable extension gel, and it's a really great product because you can get the strength and the length that you do with a builder gel, but it's so much easier to remove, and it's definitely something that I wanted to use in particular for the cover shoot, because the model's not going to want to be wearing these nails for weeks. So it just makes the removal process much, much easier when you're using a soak-off gel.
And when you're working with gel like this, what is the filing that comes with it?
There's really minimal filing when you're doing gel extensions, which is why I like working with them so much. I find them much, much cleaner. The tip is to get your application clean when you're actually building the tip, and then you haven't got, you know, excessive filing to do afterwards.
And next comes the fun part. You started with a gold base.
Yes, I did alternating fingers. I did gold and silver base, and just again to try and keep them as thin as possible, I literally just did 1 layer of the base colour because everything was going to be covered, so I just literally wanted to allow for any bits that might not get covered with a bead, there'd still be like a base colour there and not just a clear nail extension underneath.
Then you went in with foil. Why did you use this?
I love foil, just purely it's the only product that you can get that real metallic sheen from. And again, I wanted it to complement all of the gold and the beads on top. So I wanted it to have that real kind of, you know, just extravagant metallic look. And you just, right now, you just can't really get that in a gel.
So once you had the color that you wanted for the base, then you went in with the beads. Did you have a pattern in mind before you started?
I did, yes. I actually prepped a few nails in my own studio before coming to the shoot, just so that I could get an idea in my head of how the beads would lie. With this amount of 3D, it was important to keep everything central to the nail and not to the edges, so as not to make them too wide. So I definitely had a format of how I wanted to place them, and I wanted to keep them very lean and vertical on the nail plate.
When you're applying beads on a nail, do you have any tips?
Yes, I do. I always try and use like a strong gel, like a builder gel, because it stays put. It doesn't flood the nail plate in any way. And I also tend to do small blocks at a time. So instead of just covering the whole nail with the gel and then placing the gems, by the time you get to the last placement, the first ones may have slipped or moved. So I will literally do like a cluster at a time and then just flash cure for a couple of seconds and then just keep adding. It takes slightly longer, but I think in the long run it's much easier because you're not having to go back and replace or, you know, redo the work that you've already done.
These nails turned out really amazing. What would you suggest for nail technicians who want to use this style to recreate something like this for a salon wearable nail?
I would do the gold base, I would do the foil, but I would keep the 3D to a minimum. I would probably place them around the base of the nail, and then I would literally just place beads up the center of the nail and then keep the edges clear so that when it does come to the removal process, you actually have some of the product exposed so that you can actually get in there and soak it off. That's the only problem with this kind of nail. If you cover the whole thing, it's just so much of a job to try and get in there and get them off.
Well, thank you so much, Belle, for coming out and doing these nails for us. It was such a pleasure to have you, and the nails are fabulous.
Thank you so much. I had such a great time shooting this cover, and I can't wait to see the final result.